I'm going to let everybody know just after we start, so give you guys a chance to start. If you will please put your name and the chapter you represent on your name tag. All you have to do is right-click on it, and you'll be able to make the changes if you're not Zoom comfortable. The other thing is I'm going to ask everybody to be muted so that we can have one person talking at a time.
Just to note that this is a long weekend for us.
Yeah. Got it. I appreciate that you are here. Thank you. All right. It is, ladies and gents, it is 5 o'clock Pacific, and welcome all of you to the first ever membership roundtable for the Evergreen District. We have 36 folks online right now, and they are representing a boatload of chapters. Thank you all for being here. A little housekeeping I've mentioned, and just to make sure that everybody who is checking on right now has it. As you check in, please put the name of your chapter behind your name on your Zoom name tag so that we can keep track of how many chapters are here. A couple other housekeeping things. I'm going to ask everybody to mute themselves as we talk through it. If you have a question that you would like to ask, there is a section at the bottom of the screen called Reactions. When you click on Reactions, you will be able to see something called Raise Your Hand, and that's what it looks like when you raise your hand. And you immediately go to the upper left of my screen so I can see it. Then you have the opportunity to lower your hand like that. That's how we will be able to manage a very large group of folks. With us tonight, I'm the Evergreen Executive Vice President, the current EVP, and with us tonight we have a very special gent all the way up from northern Michigan, a fellow by the name of Paul Ellinger, who I hope everybody's had a chance to wave at him. Paul, everybody's had a chance to read his background. He is one of the premier coaches in the society and has been doing what we are about to do for quite a long time.
Yeah, it's not as important.
As people come on, sometimes it's not quite muted, so I'll mute them and there we go. The topic tonight is going to be membership and chapter growth. As I mentioned in the email I sent to all of you, it's been an issue for a very long time. We all know that our chapter society has eroded members for quite a long time, and the COVID shutdown merely accelerated what was going on. So as a result of this, we have all come back. We've all been touched by it, but there are in fact some chapters in the district that are growing. So if you are a chapter that is adding members, I'm going to ask you to raise your hand as I've just discussed, because we'd like to find out how you're doing it. Everybody has shed members. I see that Sid's got his hand up. We'll talk to that, and Victor for Tacoma. Jeff, great, thanks. We'll talk to you guys here in just a couple of seconds. I'm going to ask you guys to figure out, tell us your story so we understand it. Before we get to asking you guys, though, I want to share with you an email that I received from Doug Affleck, who's the president of the Okanagan Vocal Harmony chapter. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. It's Kelowna chapter up in BC. I got it right, Jeff? Hey, unfortunately, we'll be unable to attend having a course barbecue. Understand? Chapter is doing well and has managed to grow substantially over the past 18 months. I believe 28 members from 10 members. No magic formula. We did a bit of bus advertising or brought in some new young members, managed to make contact with previous members, and some came back. Now to keep them, that's a whole different thing. I shared this with Paul, and Paul is kind of smiling at me because he and I had a conversation about this very thing. We're going to talk about this, but we want to start off with good news. So again, if you are a chapter that has had added people, please raise your hand and let's hear how it's going. So Greg Cronlin, please unmute and go for it.
Yeah, I'm not actually speaking for my chapter. I'm speaking for a chapter that is not represented here right now, and that's Olympia, Washington. And excuse me, Yakima, Washington. I'll get it
That's
right.
better. Yeah.
And I've had the opportunity to work with them. When I met with them, we did a Zoom meeting, we did a one-on-one. We tried to find out whether their members were in alignment. And basically the thing was that there were 3 members and a director. So they were a group of 4 when they started. We talked about grassroots things. We talked about getting out in front of people. We talked about one-on-one marketing, personal marketing. We talked about different ideas that they could come up with. And there's a few that they adopted. One, which I thought was really cool, is they did a St. Patrick's Day pub crawl. There was no alcohol involved on the part of the members, but they went to 4 different pubs, sang the 2 Irish songs that they knew, and then went out, handed out business cards, shook hands, invited people to come and learn more about them. And they went out that way. They picked up a few members. They picked up a few members that way. And they also have now sung in, they've sung national anthem a couple of times. They have sung at their state fair, or their would be their county fair. And they are in the process of building a show. We started back in November of 2022. We talked just about basics, and I stayed in touch with them throughout this whole process. They did the work. I did the coaching on the backside, and they had a Saturday practice, just a Saturday practice, and they invited people. They had 16, and they're actually singing with about 12 on a regular basis. Now, that may not sound like a lot, but when you start with 3 people and you can't even make 4-part harmony, 3 people and a director, and all of a sudden they're growing. I know it can be done, but they did it through grassroots, one-on-one, personal invitations, and they built a practice or a rehearsal program that people liked, and they kept coming back. So I want big kudos to Yakima and everything that they have done there.
Very good. Thank you. A couple of good thoughts in there, folks, to carry away. Jeff, you're next.
Yes, we were lucky. We actually survived COVID pretty well. I think we only 2 members did not come back. So that's actually not bad because we kept going. We did all kinds of different things. But what worked for us even before and after is we did in 2019, we did a Learn to Sing program, which we just kept. It was a 5 or 6 week program. People come in, learn to sing. No, didn't have to come join us. It was not a membership push, but we got members through that. And it was a good way to get out to the community. Also, what's been working regularly with us, and people do come back on a regular basis, is our Christmas chorus. We invite guests, come on, join us. It's not a push for membership. And that's, I think, is important. Try not to push it as we're trying to go for membership.
Cool.
But just the place to sing. You come join us for Christmas. You may go out and you can join us in singing at the malls or whatever. If you're up when you make it, we're planning on starting October 11th. We have a Christmas show. I think over the last number of years, about 4 or 5 new members. So we're building slowly. It's a little hard in a bigger city, but yeah.
Good. Very well done.
Area.
Mike and Kitsap.
Yeah, a lot of what he just said is just being visible in the community. We want to do more, but we picked up one potential member through our parades, singing on a parade. We just picked up, or again, more people from our show coming to look at us. And just biggest thing is quality singing. Get people who come in, oh, this is good. I want to be a part of this. So, that's probably the biggest thing, is make sure you're putting out quality singing so good singers want to stay with you.
Excellent news. Thank you. All right, that's 3 chapters who have been adding members. The question I want to out, I see 2 more. Okay, go ahead, Marty. You're first.
Hello, everybody. Cascade did pretty well through COVID. We had a couple of new guys that moved up here from different places that had previously in barbershop that looked around and settled down in Eugene and stayed with the chapter. And I want to thank Greg for some of his stuff that he did on marketing, because our Greg Whitcomb picked some of that up. We really increased some of the social media stuff that we were doing. I think we picked up 4 younger members into the chapter, which is great. And we all like that. Some of the younger kids in the 20 to early 30 range. And some of that's, they come in, talk to them, they feel welcoming, and I'll say this, what we hear from those guys coming in is like, wow, I just felt like everybody was glad to see me, and you guys were so welcoming and open for just coming in and enjoying the singing. And cool. That's important.
Dynamite. Thank you. Next, Victor, Tacoma.
Hi, Mike. Yeah, well, I'm new, so I just started in January, so I'm actually a good test subject. And then I was asked to be in a membership, so that's what I'm doing now. Just a bunch of the things that we're doing now. I've looked at a lot of our old records. We have a lot of old records of people who come in and sign up as guests, and they sing, and then they don't hear, you don't hear from them. So just going back over old records and just contacting these people, and just I thought that was really helpful. We have a state fair. We have a booth at the state fair, and from what I understand, it's coming up. Well, I understand the quartet, so we just sing. They say that's very, very helpful, and people are very interested when you sing. If you just stand there, it doesn't do very much, but when you sing, it really, really helps.
You got it.
And we do the Tacoma Rainiers Star Spangled Banner at the games, and that's really, we're out there doing that. And somebody made the comment about the quality shows. Our show in the summer was Pirates, and we had such a blast with that. And we have comments coming back constantly about the quality of show and people that are more and more interested. So
excellent.
The quality shows.
Thank you very much. Jim and Jan, you're next.
Oh, wait.
Hey there. So the Sea Corpsmen have actually been growing, and they do it by a variety of things. They do an awful lot of community performances. These are, by and large, unpaid performances. And every time they do one, they solicit for new people. They pass out cards. They let people know that it's a non-audition chorus. So, they're welcome to come and give it a try and see what they think. They're very good about teaching crowds tags and getting people to sing and hopefully get them excited. So they're actually on the grow at the moment. They've added, since we've been in there,
which is end of May.
Which is end of May. They've added 6 people.
Great news. Thank you. Mike Patterson.
Can you hear me there?
Yes, you're fine.
The Nanaimo chapter is a bit unique in that sense that our chorus, Tidesman, however, has declined a bit over the last few years through COVID and that sort of thing. And we're working on maintaining a decent number of that sort of thing. But some of our older members have moved over to the other side. We have a second chorus. We have a mixed voice, all voice chorus in our chapter. So our chapter is unique in the sense that we have 2 choruses, and our net number is bigger. But we've lost some of our older members, or ones who are just not willing to make that kind of long-term commitment to the music and that sort of thing. And they moved over to a much more relaxed, not competitive, just sit around and sing and get out in the community every now and then. And then they're taking part in our shows and things like that. So our
excellent
performances, but our net position is larger.
Okay, thank you. Eric, talk to us from Calgary.
Yeah, so we had a membership drive that we initiated through the chorus members, and we asked every chorus member to ask 6 people to come to a rehearsal. And out of those people, we had 27 people that were asked. Out of that, we had 9 that actually showed up to a rehearsal. And out of the 9, we had 3 that stayed with the chorus. So we didn't get total involvement with everybody in the chorus, but those that did take part of it, I think we had pretty good success with it.
Excellent. Thank you all. So in the last 15 minutes, we've had success stories. An interesting question here.
Bill,
Yes. Oh, there you are, Ed. I didn't see you. Speak.
I'd like to add a little bit to Vic, including Vic. Tacoma's had 8 new guys this year, and of them, 5 of them are in their 20s, and I am absolutely pumped.
Cool. Dynamite. All right. What we're hearing of success stories, there's been a lot of research done about barbershoppers, why barbershoppers come. And in every survey, 3 things come out. They always come for fun, they come for fellowship, and they come for singing. And what is interesting, that's the order in which they view it. Are they having fun? What's the culture like? Am I welcomed, like Marty was talking about? And more importantly, can we sing? That's what people do. One of the things that came out of the research during COVID is 1 out of every 6 adults in the US and Canada sing in an organized group in some way. That means that there are 5 out of 6 who don't. And that's our target market, folks. We have been spending an awful lot of time trying to go back and get the people who have left to come back. The question that Paul and I want to pose to you tonight is why? Why don't we make it more broad to bring people back? God, I'm going to turn it over to Paul here in a couple of seconds. Just by way of introduction, everybody's had a chance to see his bio that I sent out. That, by the way, was truncated. I didn't send everything out. The man has done more than you could possibly shake a stick at in terms of what he's done in the barbershop community. And he is our newest. He's now a member, full-fledged member of the judging community. He just got back from category school. So let me congratulate and welcome Paul Ellinger to the Evergreen District. Paul.
Yay! Thank you, everybody. Give me one of these. I have family members that are deaf, hard of hearing, and so this is how we clap. Yeah. So it is so good to spend time with you all. I was first introduced to Harmony College Northwest and the Evergreen District, regions 13, 26, and a couple more that I'm probably missing, so I apologize. I had done faculty at Harmony U for 8, 9, 10 years. And I'll tell you what, as wonderful as that is, I thoroughly enjoyed my time at Harmony College Northwest the first time that I went. And I said, what have I been missing? I am going back. And I have had a wonderful time ever since. So our topic tonight is about chapter growth. And there are some things that are concepts that seem to ring true over and over. And you know, that funny thing that Bill brought up of fun, fellowship, and singing in that order is something that I've been sharing for over a decade in that order. And so it's funny that we keep doing surveys and finding the same answers. So maybe, I don't know, how about no more surveys? And we just start with fun, fellowship, and singing. And I loved it. I forgot who it was, but they said they just felt so welcome. I think that was the Cascade chapter with Marty. And I had the luxury of, I think it was last month, to spend several days at Marty's house and working with the Cascade chapter on musicality, vocal techniques, performance. And I can see why people feel like Cheers, Norm, right? If you remember the old show of Cheers. And it should feel like cheers. I think there's just some addition. I'd like to build off from the things that we are already doing so well. I think we could all raise our hand. I hope that we will. How many of you are having fun at your chapter meeting? Yay! See? How many of you have friends and fellowship at your chapter meeting? And this one is an easy one. How many of you have singing at your chapter meeting? There we go. Hey, we're on to something. There's some additional things, successes that we're having that I think that we could bring to bear and grow beyond 50 members at every chapter. I'm here to share with you. I don't mean this as an alarming thing. I mean it as an opportunity thing. As I go around the country, any guesses, and you can put this in the chat. So if you're not familiar with chat, there's a button down at the bottom that says chat. Just go ahead and click on that, and you put in there what you think, what my experience is as far as what is the most common number as far as a chapter size. What do you think is the most common number of a chapter size? I see 18, 20, 30, 30, 14, 20, 25, 20, 14, 20, 20, 40, 20. Okay, 26. Okay, if we're doing the prices right, somebody should bid 1 and somebody should bid 41, right? Okay, so if somebody wants to play the game, and there you go. Oh, but the bell rings because there's actually 2 people that have got the number correct right on the head. And the answer is 14. 14 is the most common chapter size that I see. 12 to 14. And at 12 to 14 members, we're getting to a point where you have 9 people showing up and not all the people, not all the parts are covered. And so we're sitting at a place that we need to really get things rolling as far as chapter growth. I mean, it's the impetus. If everybody's at 50 or 60 members, what do we need to grow for? And so I'd like us to think about, I would like this meeting, and it's being recorded. I would like each of us to be able to say, I was there on that day, on that call. Because I have a vision of seeing every chapter on this call and many others not at 50 members. I've helped chapters on this call get to 50 members. And my question would be, why not 70? Why not 120? Why not 200? Why not 400? Why not 500 members in a chapter? Why not? And can anybody, and you can either do one of 2 things. Marty, you don't get to answer this one because you and I have talked, so you are excused from this test. Any ideas as to why so many chapters, if we help them grow, stop at around 50? It could be 10 either way, but around 50. Why is that? Why is that?
Just go ahead and unmute yourself, folks,
Yep.
if you have an answer.
Yeah, 100%. That is part of, that is actually one of the ones that people don't recognize, is it's harder to handle. Jan and Jim are onto something. Venue capability. Doug Gardner, logistics, rehearsal space. There's a cultural one. I'm going to give you a hint. There's a cultural reason that we don't grow any further than that. Organizational difficulties. I'm going to put that in with Jeff's, harder to handle, but that's exactly right. Organizational difficulties.
No.
Keith, you're on. Keith, if you have a comment, you're unmuted. Okay. Don't know everyone anymore. Oh my gosh, that is so good. Hard to have fellowship beyond a certain size. That's the cheers effect that we were talking about. 100%. Ah, John, you are the closest to the key that unlocks all these other things. John Simpson, you are the closest. They stop trying to grow. 100%. Now, if we could just build on that and ask the question, why did we stop trying to grow? Eric, actually with the other people, less personal. Yep, you don't know of everyone anymore. The cheers effect, absolutely. But let's try to unlock that. They stop trying to grow. Why do we stop trying to grow at that level?
I
Don't
want
know,
to,
overcome the other difficulties. They stop enjoying it. They are satisfied. Bill Hickman, you and I have had a conversation, so I don't know if I should give you full credit for that. But that is what happens is the hand comes off the panic button. Yes? I see people nodding their heads. So if we start with, and I love this chapter that had, it's Yakima, who was it that was at 3 parts?
Yakima. Yakima. Yakima.
Yakima, am I saying that correctly now?
Yes.
Okay. So I had reached out to them as well a couple of months ago. And I want to thank, is it Doug that was Greg, I'm sorry, that was reaching out with them and working with them on a more personal basis. But there are so many things that they're doing that are awesome, along with so many other people on this call. But let's marry some things that we've already discovered. If the hand comes off the panic button, what happens to our growth? We think it just stops, but it doesn't. It starts to go back to the old things that we've been doing, which is forgetting about it and focusing on things that are other than growth related. And we enter the cycle of, oh, we need to grow, we'll try to push. If we create, and you see the way that this goes, and we'll keep going on this hamster. You know, there's a hamster that runs like this and the other one that just pins on it because his buddy keeps it going. Yeah, let's not be the hamster that's, we need to grow. Oh, we don't need to do that anymore. Whew. The thing I would offer up is that we need to always be growing. Always. Now let's talk, if we have a culture where we are always growing, we can address, let's let that be our problem, because then we can address the other things that we've already recognized. It doesn't feel as much like cheers. The venue. It's going to be harder to organize. And all the other things that we've talked about. Well, let me read this one. Because they think they have enough. Yep. I asked my chapter to give me 0.01% of Pierce County, which is 1 million people. I hear a lot of, we probably can't. Let me speak to that. This is such good stuff. So I'm going to bounce all over the place because we've got all kinds of wonderful things happening. Anybody heard of the NBC, this TV station NBC? Well, there's a barber shopper that has won 2 gold medals in quartets. So international gold medalist at the BHS. And he was in charge and might still be in charge of the NBC agency. Now, the NBC agency decides what shows are going to be on TV. And you know how they do that? They used to do it through a thing called the Nielsen ratings. But then they started getting out in front of it and saying, well, let's ask people what they think about, do you think you'd like a show about dogs? Oh, yeah, I like dogs. Do you think you'd like a show about trucks? Oh, I like trucks, right? Whatever that's going to be. And so this gentleman, he decided to put in 7 questions about barbershop. and might have been 5, 5 to 7, somewhere in there. But did you know that of males ages 25 to 49, people that watch TV and have disposable income, hopefully, 7% of all people said that they would join a barbershop chorus right now if they knew one existed in their community.
Amen.
7%, not 0.01%, 7% if we just knew that you existed. So some of the things that we're already doing, singing the national anthem, putting things on a bus. I really like the one of going to the fair and just having a booth, singing a song and talking to people. Now, if you want the concept here, you sing a song, preferably one that they recognize. And how do you know if they recognize it? Can they mouth the words? That's why the Christmas time is such wonderfully, what's the word I'm looking for? It's just really great time to grow, because everyone knows Christmas music or holiday music or whatever it is you're going to sing. And if you're singing music that people know, and then you sing one song and talk to them, you're in a conversation. It's not us and them, it's we. We're in a conversation. And so this is some of the things that are going, that's on already in the Harmony College Northwest viewing area and beyond. That's just already amazing. So now let's say that we grow to 50 members, and there's all kinds of things that can go on with that. Like we said, venue could be difficulty in keeping things organized. It doesn't feel like Cheers anymore, where everyone knows your name. But what if, once we get to 50 members, we take 5 of those members and we plant a new chorus? Now, I don't know if anybody else on this call has a chapter with more than one chorus in it. Oh, wait, yes, we do, right? So it's already been done, right? Doug's already done it. And so now we take 5 people and we plant another chorus within the same chapter, and we can grow that to 50. Now, but you, Paul, you can't grow a chapter from 5 people. You're right. You can do it with 4, apparently, right? On this call, we have people that have already taken a chapter of 4 people and only 3 parts. So my question is, do you need all parts to grow your chapter? Apparently not, right? We've already proven that that is not a thing. So even if you have people singing 3 parts, it still was enough to go from 4 members to, what did I write down? 12 showing up regularly, and a total of 16. Quadrupled in size, quadrupled. So there are already wonderful things going on. And what I'd like to see is that we never get satisfied. We never want to stop at 50 members. We never want to quadruple our size and say, good thing we don't have to do that anymore. Let's make our culture about we always grow. We always grow. And so if we have that as our mission, because it's not, we don't, and that's a question right there, actually. The question becomes, and I heard several people on this call, I am so jazzed right now. I heard several people on this call say, we just invited people to sing. We wanted to make sure that it helped them, not helped us. It helped them. It's not about our membership. It's about you getting to experience this wonderful hobby where people are kind and they are thoughtful and they are patient, and you are able to share a part of yourself through music with others, and people are accepting. And it's fun. And it's fun. And that's one of the key elements. If we're going to grow because we need to do this and we need this and we need that, it's going to come across like, well, you want me to join because of what you're going to get. And what we really want is for people to join and realize what they're going to get. Because how many people, yourself included, have heard or said, I wished I would have found this sooner. I wished I would have found this sooner. We owe it to those people that let us know about this wonderful hobby to pay it forward and allow others to experience and enjoy the gifts that the barbershop communities, have to share. We owe it to those people that haven't joined yet. We don't need to have tryouts. We need to have try it outs, right? And I really, I think we're going to keep that. I see a couple of thumbs up because I've heard some people say, we don't have tryouts. And I know that people have said, just come and experience it for a night. So all that to say that there is a way to grow. There are concepts that will help us get there. There are things that people are attracted to. And it's the number one thing that people will say about your show. And it doesn't matter. The chapter that I joined, just so you know, when I joined my chapter, I was blown away with them. Any guesses? Okay, here's your what's this? Price is Right. Price is Right time. It's Price is Right time. So get ready with your chat. What do you think the chapter that I joined, and I thought they were amazing, what did they score the year that I joined? They went to competition that year. What do you think they joined? And go 60, 62, 60, 58, 68, 45, 54, 55. No one's hit it yet. 45. And here's the answer as you're putting in your last second answers. 48. 48. That's what they scored. And that was their good stuff, right? That was their best stuff. 48. And I thought that they were amazing. And they were. Because here's the thing. Does it matter what we think about another chapter, or does it matter what the rest of the world thinks about that chapter? So who's right? Who are we really trying to attract? One another or people that haven't joined yet? And the people, that's right. That's exactly right, Jan. And the people who haven't joined yet, I'm going to tell you right now, how many of you, we have chapters of all different kinds of ilk on this call right now. Raise your hand if you heard after a show or a performance or a sing out or whatever, you guys looked, when I say guys, I mean that everybody, right? You all look like you were having so much fun. How many have heard that before? That's huge. That is what people want to see. They say, I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of that. How many of you have heard, I love that I could understand the words? How many have heard that before? Yeah. If you haven't heard that one, maybe we need to learn the words. I don't know. But how many of you have heard, yeah, I think the fun, the fellowship, the singing. And, this just struck me. And I apologize that I'm bouncing around, but I'm going to try to bring everything together momentarily. But Bill Hickman started off our evening reading an email, I believe it was, Bill?
Yes.
From a chapter, and they said, now that we've grown, how do we keep them?
Yep.
And I think that's one of the keys. It's fun, fellowship, and singing is what will bring people in, but what will keep them there? And I'm here to tell you the secret ingredient. It's like the yeast in bread. It's the secret ingredient. And it's called an altruistic purpose. If you connect with your community and you say, you know, it's all fine and great to learn this music and do these things, but if we aren't helping people, what are we doing? If we're not helping other people, what are we doing? And it could be supporting a local veterans organization. It could be supporting children or families with children with special needs. It could be supporting any number of nonprofit organizations that you feel strongly about. Because here's the neat thing. If someone asked you, so where do you like to do your singing? I asked that of a person today. And we got into a conversation about singing, and he was like, what is it? I can do that? Yep. That's great. But what if the question was, so what kind of person do you want to be? Do you think it's important to help others? Do you think it's important to give to others, not finances, just care? And I'm telling you, there was a chapter, it was down in Georgia. And if you give me a second, I'll think about the name of the city. And they sell, I think, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of show ads, and people flood to their shows. And a neighboring chorus, they scored 30 points higher on average, 30 points higher on average than this chapter. And this chapter has significantly more people at their show. They have thousands, I think if I remember, don't quote me on this, like $20,000 in show ads. Do you know why everybody goes to this chapter and not the super high singing one? Because they give 90% of it back to the community. And everyone knows those people. Everyone knows them. I went down and worked with them several times, and we'd be driving around, not even in a quartet or in a, they go, oh, hey, it's you guys, I know you. They own that community. They are the funnel that everything community goes through. If they say, hey, do you think we should do this for the community? They check with those people. It's unbelievable. So the question is, the point is that's the secret ingredient, is having an altruistic purpose. Connect with the rest of your community. And some people will, that's great, but we need to raise some funds. We don't have anything to work with. So if Jim Halcars ever watches this, he can confirm this. His chapter brought me down. It was in Texas, and I don't remember what city I was in. Sorry. See the color of his hair? Yeah, I forget things. So, but Jim, he says, hey, do you have a way that we could kind of make some money for our coffers and still connect with the community? I said, yes. All you do is you go out to any nonprofit in your area and you just say something like this. Hey, you walk into their office and you just connect with somebody and you say, hey, we think that what you do is amazing. And we know that one of the two things that keep you from doing more is people being aware of you. And then the second one is finances. And we can help with both of those things. You have a list of people that are part of your mailing list or your email list or people that come to your events. And we are singers. And we can put on an event that will let people know about the amazing work that you are doing. And if people want to be a part of what it is that you do, they can donate their time, they can donate their resources, and they can be a part of your community as well. And we'd be the ones singing your praises as we sing in harmony. And we know the question is going to be, how much is it going to cost us? How about nothing? We'll put on the show, just find a venue, let people know, put on a show, and then you'll ask, well, how should we split it? Guess what? We can split it any way that works for you. If it's 100% to you, 0 to us, 50-50, or anything between, it doesn't matter. We're here to serve. So 6 months later, Jim calls me, and it'd be awesome if somebody on the call knew Jim Halcars, because I can do a decent impersonation of him. So he calls me 6 months later, and he goes, he goes by Hawk. I think that's a play on Halcars, Hawk. Paul Hawk here. You know that whole thing about going to the community and seeing if we can help, and yeah, I do. He goes, well, the guys are learning music faster than ever before. They're having more fun than ever before. We're doing more shows than ever before. And we only raised $16,000 for ourselves to boot. Yeah, this plan's a piece of junk. Right? And people now are seeing that it's not about the perfect chord. It's about the perfect cause. Yeah. So I see people going, yes. And here's some of the things, Jan, I cannot tell you how much that means to me, because I shared this with Marty Anderson, who's on the call right now. Here's my hope, that the things that I see in my head that come to, as we see it come to fruition, I want people to say this: finally. Finally, we're doing this. Finally, we're making a difference. Finally, we are growing. Finally, we are investing in others. Finally, we are connecting with lifelong connections, and then planting more of those things, so that this wonderful hobby, goes on for decades and decades beyond any of us on this call. Finally. So I want to tell you, now I'm a member of the judging community, and yes, I've coached very high level groups, and I love helping groups improve very quickly, but nothing would make me happier than to say that we brought in more people into this wonderful community of singers, and that harmony means more than just 4 parts. Yeah. So I think that so my vision is, I've had people, I don't mean this pridefully, I think you might, I don't know what was in the bio, but the nice thing is that people that have used the approaches and the concepts that I share, 100% of them have grown. 100%. So why doesn't everyone do it? And here's the answer. We don't want to change. Right? We want things to be the way that they were in 1994. And if you want things to be like they were in 1994, in doing the same things that we did in 1994, that's what created the path that we're currently on, that's brought us to our current position, and it's created our current trajectory. So I'm not saying that we shouldn't do the things in 1994. I'm just saying that those aren't the only things that we should be doing. That's it. Yeah. I really want everyone to feel as though I want everyone to feel enthused. I want people to feel like, I'm in. I want to go. I'm in. And I'm going to tell you, what are you in for? Harmony, with the support of Harmony College Northwest and the Evergreen District, and possibly some areas and regions of Sweet Adelines and Harmony Inc. Because I think we have all three communities, BHS, SAI, and HI, all on the call. And I think it's, how can we serve one another? How can we serve, like Bill said, the 5 people that out of 6 that still aren't singing? How do we serve those people together? Not about us and them, it's we. It's all we. And I would like this to be the day that we say that this is a boundless initiative of growth. BIG, big. This is the big idea. And it's here and it's now. And it's not just about chapter growth. Through Harmony College Northwest and their supporters. If you go to harmonycollege.net, I think I have that right. Is that correct, Judy? Yes?
Yep.
Harmonycollege.net.
It's up there now.
Up in the upper right, you'll see the big idea. You as an individual can say, I want to learn more about how I can support this kind of movement, where we never stop growing, not just in number, but these groups are going to get ongoing coaching, world-class coaching throughout the year. Because now we can do these things with these wonderful computer thingies, with Zoom and things like this, because it's more about the concepts and this ongoing growth. Because I could help chapters grow, but then I couldn't help them maintain it because I'm on to something else. I'm on to somewhere else. So if we decide that we want to do this together, you can sign up your group or groups or start a group or just want to be a person that wants to be a part of the team. I don't know what skills I have, but I'm willing to help. And somebody that wrote that email, I was like blown away. Because that's what we need. People that just want to serve and pitch in so that we can each and every one of us go,
Finally.
That's right. Finally. So I have monopolized the conversation. I cannot tell you, I can talk about each of the notes that I took on all the chapters that are growing. And they're staying true to a lot of the things that we would talk about in the big idea and sharing those things. And I'm going to mention this right now. If we all think that this guy knows everything about growing a chapter, we are sorely mistaken. That is the beginning of the end for all of us. If any one of us think we have all the answers. But if we have all these wonderful people and these successes and more on the way, pulling together and learning together and iterating, learning from things that didn't work and then moving on to the things that do, and making those things that didn't work even better. Oh, the world is our oyster. There is no bound to the growth, the levels of growth that we can see. There is no bound. There is no boundary. So I hope people are excited, but I'm going to open it up to any questions. Bill, if you have any leading questions that you would like to share, if you are excited, boy, if you're excited, let me see your hands.
Yep. Let me take the speaker's option here, and I will pose the first question to you, Paul. Yep. If there is one thing that the 16 chapters represented on this call could do, one thing when they leave this call and go back to meet, what would that one thing be in your mind?
Yeah, so it would be, now this is specifically about growing. Is that what you're asking?
Growing the
Okay.
chapter, specifically
So-
about that.
Because I'm just going to share again, the big idea is not just about growing, it's also about improving and always having new concepts upon which to build so that every song gets easier and easier to sing. But when it comes to growing, here's the thing that I would share. Try something. Right? So here's the thing. You could sign up for the big idea. Do you have to? No. You could say that we want to be a competition only chorus and we're just going to sing in the 90s and that's our goal for growing. Awesome. What about these? Did you know that 70% of all chapters in the BHS do not go to any convention? 70%, not 17, 70%. So what is out there for those 70%? What if their goal is we're going to create a super fun, and I think one chapter even said that they had two options. Help me with this, Nanaimo?
Nanaimo.
Thank you. So they had another chorus option that was a little more relaxed, that was not competition focused. So they actually created two options and said, if you want that, that's cool. And if you want something that's a little more relaxed, that's cool. And if you want to be a part of the big idea, that's cool. And if you want to create your own thing, that's cool. And if you want to do it with, like, the big idea is going to be more, it will not be competition focused. There are reams of information on how to create a competition chorus. Just so you know, this will not be that.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Let's go to, before we cut off, I'm done. Doug Gardner, you're next, and then Jeff Gogol.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks, Paul. As usual, excellent presentation. I went to Harmony College in around 2017-18, and you were doing your supercharging your chapter, which this is kind of an evolution from, I think.
Agreed.
There was one chorus that was kind of held up at that time. I think it was Seattle. It was held up as somebody who was really going in that direction. And I'm just wondering what things over the last 5-6 years or whatever it has been, they have learned that they could share, that we could potentially benefit from.
As an outsider watching Seattle grow over the last several years, let me share with you what I observed. Every single one of them started having fun. Every single one of them worked hard to become a better singer. They brought in more coaches into Seattle than any other chapter in the district. They began a full court press to make sure that everybody in the organization understood why they were there and what they were doing. Their director studied and became a better director and is now a certified singing judge. All of these things happened as a direct result of the work that this man helped them do. Is that a fair assessment, Paul?
Might be overplaying my part in that.
Okay.
But I did help with the impetus.
For those of you who are into competition, they raised their singing performance and overall scores by 15 points in this time.
Here's what I can tell you is that when this is when Ted Chamberlain was the director. By the way, love you, Ted. But he called me and he said he wanted me to come out and coach this thing called Wave Box Singing that I created. And I said, I'll tell you what, if you bring me out, this is when I was traveling 42 weekends a year, working full time, and you put in Christmas and New Year and Thanksgiving and other things, there's not many left. And I said, I'll tell you, no worries, Steve. Nice seeing you. Thanks for letting me know. And Greg says he was there. But I said, I promise you, if I come out and show you how to grow, I promise, and you follow through, I promise you I will come back and coach wave box singing. So they went from 24 members to 51 members in 6 weeks. So middle of November to December 31st. Remember, that's prime real estate for growing, right? They were singing in public, singing songs that people recognized. And they went to competition and scored pretty much what they always do, went out with wave box singing. They recorded it. They scored 100 points higher than it scored, well, previously. So that was and then they took it from there. So that was my involvement, and it was an absolute joy. And it's wonderful that we have that history with us on the call, and also all the other ones that we have here too, right? We have a chorus that quadrupled in size. We have people that have created 2 choruses. There's just so many other wonderful things. Jeff.
Yeah, how would you work it? In our area, we basically have about 5 choruses with varying sizes, but smaller, vying for the same groups. When we're close together, that's the challenge. How do you work as a group, or do you work because we all rehearse on different nights, or do you try to just work on your own?
Yes, you make me. I'm sorry. Go ahead if you're going to say something else, Jeff.
That's more because
Okay.
I was.
So how many? So stay unmuted just for a quick second, Jeff. How many people are in the Vancouver area? I've had the luxury and pleasure of staying with Philip Grant and
Danya
Metzger up there. So I'm pretty familiar with Vancouver. I mean, it's got to be close to 1 million if it's not 1 million.
It's over. I think it's if you think the growing greater Vancouver, it's probably almost close to 2.
Okay, so just for the sake of argument, let's call it 2%. I mean, 2 million. What's 7% of 2 million?
Too high to me count.
Correct. So are you really fighting for the same people?
Fighting
I mean,
for
there are more than enough people to go around, is my point.
Okay, that's fair enough. I was just kind of, I just
The
don't want
next
to.
thing is
the other one.
Yeah, the next one is yes to both. If people want to work together, we work together. And if someone can't meet, like you said, we all meet on different nights. That's a wonderful thing. Because if your group meets on Tuesday night and Doug's group meets on Wednesday night, well, I can't make Tuesday, but I could make Wednesday. Oh, well, let you connect with a chapter right over here. And this makes me think that led right into, there was a chorus, it was actually out in your area, so I won't mention who it was, but they said, you're walking into a hornet's nest, Paul. And I said, oh, am I really? He goes, yeah, we're down to 14 members and half of the people want to go mixed and half of the people don't. And I said, okay. So I was out there working with them on how to grow, and they were all excited. And I said, I heard that there's a bit of a debate going on. A debate? What kind of debate? I said, I was told that it seems like you guys think that you need to make a decision as to whether you're going to be mixed or stay men only or whatever it is. I said, but do you really? Do you really need to make that decision? Because if you just grow and you grow with 90% women or 90% 20-year-olds or 90% 70-year-olds or 90% men, it tells you something. Any one of those things tell you something. And if all of a sudden you grow and you've got 50, 150, 250, 450 members within your chapter with multiple choruses that are meeting on multiple nights in different cities now, and people aren't having to come so far away, which one of the things you were telling me is people are having to come from so far away. You have all kinds of choices. You have choices upon choices. Right now, You don't have any choices. So maybe just grow. And then you have choices. So do you really need to decide now? Maybe not, right? So back to your original question, and we'll go to Greg, is if people want to work together, I think it's a great idea. The more we can do together, the better. The better. So, and we can talk about the hows and all that, but conceptually, together is better. Yep. Greg.
I've had a really unique 18 months because I've been doing a series of workshops. So I've actually worked with a lot of these people that are on the call, and I've had an opportunity to try and get them jazzed up about what they're doing. I
just have to say this, Greg, I love you, man. Never got to meet you, but I love you.
But one thing that I have been trying to encourage is that there was a time when I came in that this is my chorus and this is my chorus, and those guys over there, that other chorus, are the enemy. That's kind of the feeling that I had when I first started in 2004. I have come to think that we are stupid by not cooperating with one another and sharing information inter-district wise as to what's working, so that we are not an island unto their own. And when I do the workshops, I send out rosters so they know who they're on the call with, and they've got contact information, and they can share information back and forth. I was wondering if you saw from a society level, are chapters still their own thing and very prideful about it and don't want to share information, or is there more cooperation growing within the districts?
I think that it's changed over time. I think in 2004, it was, I'm over exaggerating, but there were more people about their area of barbershop. I want my group to do better. I want my group to score higher. I want to win something so I can put something under my signature line in my emails. I want a title so that I can put something under mine just says Paul Ellinger. It doesn't say anything else. That's all it says. And I think now it's changed, either because of the kind of people we're attracting, or necessity, because necessity is the mother of all invention. Hey, we need to start working together. And maybe both. So to answer your question, yes, I think times they are a-changing, and I think it's in a really good way. I think that's an excellent insight and an excellent question. Jeff.
Yeah, I wanted to add something because I know I was wanting to get, like, within our division 1, being that there's no division contests anymore, late for the last few years, we haven't had that opportunity to have cross-pollinate, and that's one thing I want to try to do is within the division. Some of the people are here, is to kind of get a similar type of thing, a Zoom session, just to see where everybody is and just try to touch base, so that we can start working together and help where we can. So
I love that, Jeff. How many people also feel the same way? Like, let's say, hey, all hands in, let's just see how we can help one another. I love it. Awesome. Thank you, Don. Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Bob, Tim. And this is Marty. I know you're in, brother. And so many more. And that's what it's going to take. And I'm going to tell you one of the concepts that I can see being so vitally important. And I've mentioned it once. It's the concept of iteration. You will learn, we all will learn more from the things that don't work than from the things that do. And I see people nodding their heads. I think temporary setbacks, some people would say failures. I don't like that word. Temporary setbacks are a necessary ingredient to future success. I'm so glad that was recorded, because I've never said that before, and I like it. So, and they did studies on this, and they found how many have heard of this thing called the spaghetti marshmallow challenge? How many have heard of this? Here's the short version of it. They give people at a table, a group of people at a table, a uncooked spaghetti, 1 meter of tape, a meter of string, and 1 marshmallow. And the goal is, and I forget how much time they get, but they get a certain amount of time, and this group is supposed to come up with the highest standing structure in a certain amount of time and have a marshmallow sit at the top. And it used to just be random people put all together, and then they would just do it, and it was just kind of a fun team building thing. Well, then what they did is they started putting people by like categories. They had CEOs, they had recent graduates of MBAs, business school graduates, kindergartners, nurses, I think, engineers, etc. And, you know, the funny thing is, here was the level that the average group, just the mixed group, would do. The absolute worst of all of them were recent graduates of business school. They were the worst. Among the very best was recent graduates of kindergarten. And they were able to build this thing so much better than everyone else. Why? Now, obviously, the engineers did better than everyone else, thankfully. They can't build a structure that stands. I'm starting to wonder about bridges and things. So, but why did the kindergartners do better? Because in the amount of time that they had, they built something and then it would fall. And they go, oh, okay, let's build this. And then it would get taller and it would fall. And they're like, oh, okay, let's fix that. And then it would fall. And then they would have a standing structure taller than everyone else's that wasn't an engineer, because they had 6 or 7 prototypes in that amount of time when everyone else or so many other people had 1. They learned through iteration. In my theory is that even engineers have learned, now maybe not their iteration, but through other people's iterations, that, oh, triangles are very strong structures. And so we'll use triangles. And there's a thing called resonance frequency and all this other stuff that they've had to learn from other people's iterations. So think along those lines, that we're all going to be willing to try new things from the framework of concepts that have been proven, and then try new things and learn from one another and iterate together. And if we do that, not only will we get better and better and build taller and taller structures and more joy of sharing music, the opportunity of music with other people and sharing music with other people and learning about music and getting better at music. But we'll have a ton of fun doing it. We will have a ton of fun doing it. Yeah. Would we have any Marty? Marty's going old school on us. He's not doing this technology thing. He's doing
I got it there, but it blends in with the wood, I think, a little bit.
Oh, there it is. I see it. I'm so sorry, Marty. I do see it.
That's okay. Awesome, Paul. It's great to see you again.
You too.
And I'm going to segue on that just a little bit and kind of talk a bit about, we have a monthly president's meeting every 4th Sunday of the month at 7:00. And we've talked about getting more membership, getting more members involved, fundraising ideas, all kinds of things. And your subject is going to be the talk of the next one. Fun. Well, we're going to just use that stuff. Now, we've had, I don't know, probably as many as 12 chapter presidents at that meeting, sometimes less. But this is a venue that is for us as presidents or leadership representatives of our chapters to get together and talk about what's working, what can we do, brainstorm ideas. And it's been a valuable asset already for the people that have participated in it. And it's a Zoom meeting. Bill sends out to everybody. I've seen his email list about the meeting. And if we could get this kind of numbers on those monthly meetings, that's a landslide starting to happen, getting the snowball rolling down the hill with stuff and working together.
If I could offer a one question to answer, if you're a president and want to join us, what hasn't worked in your chapter, and share that, taking Paul's idea of learning from mistakes, and run with that for next week, this month.
So I'm gonna outlaw a word. No mistakes, temporary setbacks or hurdles.
Love it.
Yeah. The other thing that I would say is that with this big idea, and I'm not trying to, please don't take this, Marty, and you know me well enough already that I'm not trying to horn in on what you're doing. But this is what the big idea was predicated upon, was having like at least monthly, I'm hoping semi-weekly, so every other week, having a session like this with yours truly, that we're sharing the things that we're working on together. And then we have enough time to employ those before we go on to new things and new concepts. So that we're not constantly going in 800 different directions. I mean, we can do that, but we're constantly learning and creating these concepts so that we can share it with others. And that is one of the things that I hope that people, maybe if I wasn't clear on that, that is one of the things that I'm offering, is that I'm going to be giving of my time to share with each and every one of you. And not just leadership, I would have a critical mass of your chapters in attendance. Bring your chapters so that we all hear it together. We'll keep them short, like 30 minutes, super big concepts, very condensed, and just get people, if there's a problem, we are going to find solutions, right? That's what we're going to do, is this one big, huge brain trust that we are here today. So, is that helpful, Marty?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Jan, I love how you've just been encouraging me all night long by going like this. That is so awesome. Not that other people haven't as well. Art, you too. It's just I can see you on my screen. So it's just awesome to see that.
We have about another 15 minutes before the scheduled end time. In my email I sent out in the invitation, I said, we're going to have a chapter leadership call to talk through the problem, share experiences, and hear a way to grow your chapter guaranteed. It ain't easy. It requires you to question what you think you know about our chapter. It requires commitment, but it works. Have we done that? I'm seeing a lot of nodding heads. Yes. What is it going to require for all of us to do? Think about this. Absolutely. But more importantly, talk about it. I asked you to bring your chapter influencers to this call so that wouldn't be one person trying to convince others. You have a group of people in each of your chapters who has heard what Paul has been talking about. This is very old school stuff, folks. But the thing that really struck me more than anything else is when Paul originally mentioned to me the altruistic purpose. Most of us haven't given it a thought in a long time, but it was one of the things that was in the very first document creating the society, and has been part of who we are for 84 years. So the question I'm going to ask all of you to walk away tonight and then talk about in your chapter leadership discussions What is your altruistic purpose? Once you agree on what that is, you're ready to go forward. There's a wonderful book that Paul knows, it was written called The Wisdom of Teams, written in the 1990s. And it said every group has, every successful group, every successful team has one thing in common. They have a sense of shared purpose. Is this making sense? You see why we're here? We all share the problem. We now understand the problem. What are we going to do about it? It's going to be different for every chapter on the call. But the point is, the takeaway, the plead is to do something with this information. Greg?
We started off by talking about success, and I think that's really important. And recently, that's been one of my thrusts, is that there are no failures. There are plans that need to be reworked or replanned, but everything leads us toward the next step of growth. And sometimes it is really, really difficult because it doesn't feel like you have any momentum going. I know that in Yakima, they were at 12 and they didn't, and all they talked about was how hard it was to get there. What I tried to get them to do is to celebrate that they did, because it's major success. I did want to share, I was hoping that Harmony Kings would be on this from Federal Way, but I did want to share a little bit about what they're doing. And like I say, I get this from all these workshops that I do, but they adopted a veterans group a couple of years ago, and they gained 2 singers from their association with the veterans group, and they also sang frequently at the veterans group home. So they would go into the group home and they would perform for them. Harmony Kings, as of September, no, I'm sorry, yes, as of September, they are booked into March of next year. Harmony Kings does 24 community performances a year, plus 2 shows, and 90% of their performances are paid, and 10% of their performances are no charge. And they've adopted several other organizations that they have done this for. They charge as little as $50, and they charge as much as $800. And this is a group of average singers. A gentleman from Northwest Sound many years ago asked me, how come we sing better than you, but people know your chapter better than us? And I said, it's because we're out there in front of people, and we are constantly inviting people, or they were, I was president for 3 years there. They were constantly going out in front of people. One of the reasons they're not here is because they had a gig today and they were singing for Merrill Gardens Retirement Center in Tacoma, Tacoma. And so I wasn't sure whether they would be here or not, but they started off with a specific plan, and they're still working the plan to this day. And they were actually singing during COVID 2 times a week. They were meeting. They had a Zoom meeting on Tuesday, and they had a parking lot sing on Thursday. So there's a lot of momentum going on in our district, and Paul just brings the whole thing to the surface, because not only do we have a purpose to sing, but we know what the parameters are. It's fun, fellowship, and singing. Those are the 3 parameters. If your chapter is not doing those 3, then you need to at least get to that point to get started, because this district has always been a leader within the society, and I don't want to see that stop. I want to see everybody grow to their best potential.
Amen.
All right, Paul, what else would you like us to carry away with us?
I have a secret to share with you all. You will all be the first to hear this. You might want to put in your calendars August 13th at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I'm saying this for me. I'm on Eastern time, so that means 9 p.m. for me. But that will be the first fact-finding mission of the big idea. So this would be, and I'm not saying that you have to be a part of this, but if you would like to be a part of this, the big idea, I will be sharing all about it, fleshing it all out for you, sharing concepts and seeing if it's something that connects with you and rings true to you. And if so, then we will go on this journey together. And I started to think about journeys, and it'll be a Zoom meeting, and it'll be, I think it can be, Judy, on the harmonycollege.net website, that link probably. So if we don't have everyone's email address, anyone and everyone can find that link on the Big Idea subpage of harmonycollege.net. But I started to think about, there was a movie I watched several years ago about Ernest Shackleton. Anybody familiar with Ernest Shackleton? Nice, awesome. I love everyone that raised your hands, and I love everyone that didn't. Ernest Shackleton was a British explorer, and in 1914, he was going to try to take his third attempt at traversing the Antarctic, going from one sea to the other. Had failed twice. And I'd like to read to you what he put out for his advertisement in the paper. Now this is I think he put this out in 1912, left in 1914. Wanted for hazardous journey, small wages, bitter cold, long months of complete darkness, constant danger, safe return, doubtful, honor and recognition in case of success. And that's what he put out. And guess what? He got 5,000 respondents. And I think that's the approach that I would like to take, is that not to say that it's going to be life-threatening and bitter cold and all this. But if you read about Ernest Shackleton, it was an arduous journey that lasted over a year and a half. They got stuck, and it's an amazing story, and they documented it with film and pictures. But the point is that anything worth having is worth working for. And so this isn't this big idea thing, and any of the things that we're doing on our own, or we come together and share them, however we want to do that, I'd like us not to think of it as the silver bullet. It's going to be difficult, but we are going to see recognition in case of success.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, may we all raise our hands like this for Paul Ellinger and thank him for his time, his energy, his effort, and his deep connection to the Evergreen District. My friend, you are welcome. Thank you so much for doing this. Now, show of hands, how many people plan to be there next Sunday? Okay, look at those hands popping up. This is a good thing, folks. This is good stuff. So thank you all. Paul, I can't tell you, I know it's 9:30 your time. Thank you for sharing your time. There's a glass of wine in your future. I know there is, so be good. Oh, water. Okay, good enough. Now, David Dobson has a question for you, I think. David, last question?
Or I could do all these.
Hang on. You there?
Yeah, we're here.
Okay. Hey, Paul, can you put your email in the chat, please? And I wanted to talk to you. That's all I wanted to say. Anyways, hello from Tualatin Valley.
Hello. So I'll put it out there for everyone, ellinger.paul@gmail.com, 734-812-5757. I'm in the US if people are out of the States and you need that +1, or you're out of North America anyway, and need that +1, that I'm in, in Michigan. The one thing that I'll say to anybody that tries to call me outside of, this, The one thing that I've learned is that if there's a plan for getting together and answering a lot of the questions, to try to take everyone's call and everyone's email and train everyone by email, it is impossible for me to do. So please, I'll just say in advance, please don't be offended if I say, awesome, I am so thankful for your call or email. That will be covered on the 13th of August or our next meeting or whatever. All right? Just setting expectations.
One level going. We want to be respectful of time. I said 90 minutes. It has been 89. Ladies and gentlemen, good night from Evergreen. Thank you so much. Paul, dynamite, my friend, dynamite.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, all.
Good night, Paul.